I'm so excited to talk with my dear friend Melissa. Hi, Melissa. How you doing?
Hi, I'm great. How are you, Russell?
I'm doing really good. For people that may not know the rock star that you are, like, do you want to introduce yourself to people?
Sure. Hi, I'm Melissa Storm. I'm a New York Times and USA Today best-selling hybrid published author. I'm also the CEO of Novel Publicity, best known for running really awesome Facebook ads for authors. But I have a bazillion pen names because I don't believe in lanes. I drive a BMW, so I like to change lanes a lot with no signal. Haha. So yeah, that's me in a very condensed little nutshell.
Awesome. I love it. That's great. Before I even knew Melissa, I loved Melissa because of like other stuff that she's been doing for the last billion years, and we like have a lot of vibe stuff in common. One of which is our blocks are often similar blocks that have like blocked us. So, do you want to talk a little bit about how you think about blocks? Maybe what your biggest block is? Like, talk us blocking.
Let's block it out. So I'm an avid gamer. If you're on PlayStation 5, add me, Mrs. Octocat. I'm also writing lit RPG now, so this is going to be game metaphor heavy. Um,
Nice.
but right now, in my quest as an author, I am both the hero and the villain because my biggest block is mental health and neurodivergence.
Yeah, I mean, same. I mean, like most of I if I can just get over myself, not over myself, if I can just get past the blocks that I put up myself, then like I can write basically anything.
Yeah, another thing I tend to do, which maybe people don't talk about enough, in Clifton Strengths, I'm a number one achiever, which is awesome for if you never want to rest ever and you always want to feel bad about your excellent work. So nobody has expectations as high for me as I do for myself. And every time I reach a new level, the game doesn't end. I just saying, okay, we're on God mode now. We're going to go even harder. We're going to do even better. And you don't take a moment to celebrate. So that's a big challenge. Just knowing when to quit.
Hmm.
Sometimes not give up, but rest.
Yeah, I was talking with a friend of mine a couple weeks ago, and I was like, the problem is that the more success you have, the more axes by which you can fail. And like
Yes.
yeah, I feel like I'm still succeeding at the same number of things at any given time as I always have, but the failure points are exponential.
Well, I like to say it hurts a lot. It hurts a lot more if you fall from the summit of the mountain. So I felt that a few times, but we can always reinvent ourselves, get up. We have infinite lives as long as we keep playing.
And this really is lit RPG heavy. I love it.
I warned you.
How about we talked kind of esoterically, ethereally about like mental health. Could you make it let's make this concrete. Like, can you
Oh
give
yeah.
us an example of how this works and maybe how you get over it?
Yeah, so I talked a little bit about shame just in that drive that it's never enough. I feel like if I was a better singer, I would sing a song from Greatest Showman right now, but I'm not a great singer, so just imagine it. Okay. It's never enough. I always push myself to do more. So there is that shame, that perfectionism, which for me is tied into having complex post-traumatic stress disorder. Very recently, and this is personal, but I'm willing to share it. I had a major trauma episode, and I was unable to work or function for a whole week. I couldn't move my body at times. I couldn't speak. I was completely incapacitated. It's called depersonalization, and it just happened out of nowhere. Um, and things, depending, I know some people might fall into similar depressive episodes where they're stuck for a long time. That's something my husband battles with. I've also recently been diagnosed with autism. I'm 40, just found this out about myself. And now they tell me I have ADHD too. So I have to get reassessed for high maskers. So my brain is kind of in conflict with itself, which usually yields amazing results because steel sharpens steel. But sometimes I get stabbed by the sword too.
Well, steel also breaks steel, right? Like steel
Yeah,
also causes a lot of sparks and such.
I do
Yeah,
love the fire.
yeah, yeah. But like, okay, so I feel like the thing that we're kind of talking about is that is really great fuel at the beginning of your career, but like as time goes on, it can become more and more combustible.
Yeah.
Um, so like how did you deal with this before versus like how are you able to give yourself a break now?
I'm a work in progress, much like, many viewers' manuscripts, I'm sure. I have at least 6 works in progress, which is part of the reason I'm getting re-diagnosed for ADHD. But yeah, when I first started out, here's a very Russell word, but my inner critic, my internal monologue, who's very mean, is like the audacity. Who are you? Who are you to write this book and think people will care? Who are you to think you have something new to say? And just learning to, la 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 la, and keep writing anyways. That was the challenge in the beginning. And you know what? I still have that challenge over 100 books later. I've been a full-time author, and marketing in the publishing industry exec for pretty much my whole adult life. I'm 40 and I started full-time at 26. So I've kind of grown up with this industry, and I believe that that kind of imposter syndrome and that, like, call to audacity, I think if it goes away, it stops being art. So when authors come to me and they say, like, I'm feeling this way, I shouldn't feel this way, I've done this before, I should feel more confident. I'm like, no, like, you need that pain for your art because it shows that you care, that you love it, that you're going to keep going. So, I also like to say that anxiety is fuel. So you can use it to run your engine or you can use it to go somewhere. I've used it to go many places. But I still have to refute. Okay, the metaphor falls apart.
Well, I was gonna say like that you said anxiety is fuel, but like you can overflow your fuel. Like you don't like it it's kind of like stress. Like it burns hot, it burns fast, but it also burns real dirty over time. And like it's okay if you do that in like short bursts, but like don't do you find that it gets harder over time to keep powering yourself with the same kind of fuel?
Oh, absolutely. This year, I've been really focused on my physical health, which is bolstering my mental health, because you got to put the good fuel into the engine, and you got to take care of your car if you want to keep it driving. So I went from doing anything to avoid exercise to getting really upset if I have to miss my workout. And I'm not doing anything hard. I'm walking on a treadmill at 2 miles an hour, but I'm doing it every day.
Right.
And speaking of neurodivergence, I have a friend who's also neurodivergent, and we body double. A lot of writers will sprint with other writers, kind of to force you to, somebody's watching, I have to do it, I'm accountable. We're like, why can't we do this for the hardest thing, physical activity? So we get on the phone and we get to talk with each other and FaceTime each day. And now, like, we'll show up for each other, and it's turned into also showing up for ourselves. So making sure, I'm getting enough water, that I'm sleeping well, that I'm eating whole foods, just different things my body likes. And I've learned to listen to the story it tells. So that's a skill I've been working really hard on developing. And it really feeds back into having that more resilient mental health as well.
Yeah. With people who've had the kind of success that you've had, I always find it interesting that it often almost always leads back to this thing where you've got your mindset really strong. Because like the mindset needs to be strong before you can even have the success. And you can keep leveling and leveling and leveling that thing up. But we keep pulling along our body, right? And like our body's been through all the same trauma that like our mind has, except but like we just assume it's the carrier for our it's it's the thing that carries us, so it must be okay. But like to me, I am just a 3 pound blob of fat who is like operating this mech suit that it doesn't really understand over time. So it's like they really are the brain and the body are like two separate organisms that it wasn't until much more recently than I like to admit, like a center of what I'm doing. And it sounds like maybe that's true for you as well.
Yeah, when I first became a full-time writer and advertiser, I was working over 100 hours a week, and for a long time. My first marriage dissolved, which was a great thing, but really stressful at the time. And I gained 140 pounds in 2 years. Because you just go all in, and I'm like, I'm a brain in a jar. What's a body? Which is, I guess, not so bad when you're 26. At 40, I've managed to lose 90 of the pounds I gained, but I still have an extra 50 pounds, that I'm trying to work through, and it's hard. And if I would have never gained it in the first place, it would have been a lot easier. But hindsight 2020, etc. There's a lot like that I wish was different, but I'm so happy. Like, my story starts out rough, but it's a great story. Like, I
Mm.
love where I am. I have friends who are really worried as their kids get autism diagnoses, and I'm like, okay, but I'm autistic too, and like arguably I have a better life than most people. Like, it's not a death sentence. Like, you know, okay, I'm getting worked up about that. But yeah, you talk now.
Oh
Lead me
yeah,
back on track.
sure, sure, sure. Well, okay. Where I find your us our talks, we talk a lot. We did a book together. Like we've like we've talked deeply a lot of times. And I remember when the first thing that when you were coming back into like doing nonfiction stuff after like a long time out, you had a lot of the same fears that somebody who may have only written their first book, like no one wants to listen, no one's going to listen to me, no one wants what I have to hear, like I don't want to be front and center in this way. I've been a fiction author so long, and that like what do I even have to say to anyone to do this thing? Like how how did you how were you able to like circle that square and actually start doing it? Because I think there's a lot of people that are saying I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I'm a lover, I'm a sinner, I'm a saint. Oh, no,
I do not feel
sorry. That's
ashamed.
yes, exactly. Um, and like I'm not an author. So like that's such like a I hear it all of the time. Like I can't even break the block to be an author because like I do all of
Yeah.
these other things. And like I don't know if maybe it's that transition or a previous transition or something, but like how do you get over it?
Well, play the level you're at. Don't enter a cheat code and try to skip ahead. So it's small incremental wins. You mentioned we both talked about leveling up and how I've done a lot, so I'm at a very high level. But remember, I'm also the villain, so I'm just able to punish myself even more. So having that solid base early on, focusing on kind self-talk, and just wherever you can get positive validation, affirmation. For me, I wrote my first novel because I ended up with a newspaper column and they paid me $50 per article. And I was like, somebody is willing to pay for my words. Maybe I'm not an imposter. And that was enough to get me through the first book. So each time I have to find a new reason I'm not an imposter. So my editor is very good at supporting me. If I spiral, she'll be like, get on a call. And then she'll tell me how amazing I am. So I keep going. But having someone who really believes in you, like a spouse or a friend or an alpha reader, somebody who can tell you, don't give up. I really want to know what happens next, or your work is important.
Yeah.
Every time, I need it every time.
It's really, I remember when I stopped beating myself up. I remember the second because it was a reader. I was saying, oh, this book's not that good. And I was like, I was talking to a reader and they're like, I was like, I don't know. This is like, it's like, I liked this thing. If you are saying that it's not good, you are saying that my taste is not good. And that is, and like, I don't believe that. So stop insulting me. And I was like, oh, I guess we don't do that anymore because I can't insult readers. They're the reason why I'm writing. Well, my vanity is a big part of that too, but like they're the other reason that I'm writing.
Well, and you said something similar to me that really stuck with me is you said stop being mean to my friend with how I talk about myself, and
Mhm.
you being willing to call me out on it. And now I try to do that for others because how acceptable it is to just rag on yourself. Like, it's not cool. Like, we need to practice positive self-talk, and you need a safe person like Russell who can say, stop it, you're amazing. No, really, stop.
Yeah, and and it's just all like the entire history of humanity is full of people who were taught by negative. They were like, you're dumb, you can't do this. Like, don't think too highly of yourself. Don't be like better than you. So like we have evolutionarily like a lot of um epigenetics that are like against us. Not even our own family tree's epigenetics, just like evolutionary
Humanity.
epigenetics
Yeah.
and like evolution like working against us because like by seeing the negative, we stay alive. By like fearing everything, like we are able to like not eat that bad plant. But like we now live in a society where the FDA theoretically can tell us when a plant is should not be eaten. Like our grocery store can be like, we're not going to stock that. We're going to stock things that are edible. And our brain is like, but like, what if poison? What is poison now? And you're like, oh,
Well,
oh.
and speaking to that, in the rare instance I get to use my actual academic degree, sociologically speaking, we're also studying what others are doing. And being a writer, it's such a solitary career, which is why we form communities and do conferences to connect, because we feel so lonely, but we're always trying to determine what someone else is doing, looking from, a house across the street. We can't see clearly, but we think we know. We don't know what's going on beneath the surface. So we try to adjust based on what we think readers want, or what we think authors are doing, or what we think we're supposed to be doing. And that's all a fallacy, right? It's in terms of what others are doing, I have this conversation with my therapist every week. And seriously, if you have a like everyone should have a therapist, and everyone should talk about their blocks with their therapist. Um, Mine reads my books because that's where all my trauma comes out that I didn't know I had. And then she's like, "Oh, we need to talk about this, I guess." And it's really helpful. But every single week, she has to reassure me that I'm not a narcissist, that I have high self-esteem, and that's rare in today's society, but it's a positive thing, not a negative thing. But I have to be reassured for a strength every
Yeah.
week because it's not normal.
Yeah, every time that so I'm very good at setting boundaries. Like I was just thinking today, I was like, look, you're not giving me the benefit of the doubt, and so we're done. Just like I can't do this. Like I can't work with people who don't at least give me the benefit of the doubt the first time that something happens. And every time I do that, I'm like, oh God, that was the worst. I'm the worst human ever. And I'm like, for setting a boundary, which is like we all have to set boundaries. We can't do all of the things. So like I am very good at setting boundaries, but I am very good at um attacking myself for doing the thing that is helping me. And I
Yeah.
think we're all like that, right?
Yeah, and speaking of boundaries, so I'm CEO of Novel Publicity, and my business is growing really fast. I've had to bring on new hires, and I need to be in the leadership position. So I had the very difficult decision that I can't keep working 14-hour days a week with no writing time for 6 weeks, by the way.
Mm.
That I need to reassign some of my personal clients because I'm more needed in the leadership capacity. And these are people I've worked with for years and really care about. I'm really invested in their success. And I didn't want to do it. Like I was ready to keep driving myself into the ground rather than let anyone down. And the conversations I had, Russell, they were so supportive. They told me how proud of me they were. They respected and said I should do a better job balancing and taking care of myself too. They were saying it about themselves, and they respect me more, not less. Like I didn't let anyone down. So for so long I was letting myself down,
Yeah.
because I was afraid of letting down others, and that fear didn't even materialize.
Yeah, it's amazing how often the fe things we fear aren't actually don't exist at all. Like they're not even monsters under the bed. They're just like a shadow under the bed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will say that like it's been a very tough year for me because like writer MBA, like and I was like, oh my God, we can't like who am I going to be letting down? Who's going to hate me for this? I don't know, but like some group of people that's going to hate me for this. But the majority of what people said when we finally shut that company down was thank you for showing me that you can do this. Like you can
Yeah.
just end things. And so you don't know who's. The same and an opposite thing happened when I started writing because they were like, "Oh, thank you for showing me that like you can just finish a book, like you can just do it, like you know." And on either end, I think that both of us are very good at. Most people are like, "What is the entire group doing?" And both of us are very good at saying, look, that weird thing, this is working over there to this weird person. So like if that person can figure out how to do this weird thing, that like we have to be able to do it too, right? Like someone can do it, everyone could do it.
Yeah, I think Becca Syme calls that trailblazers, but I'm not good at following. Even if I write an outline for myself, I'll say nobody tells me what to do, and then I'll just write whatever I want. I never follow the outline, but I have to have it as some kind of security blanket.
Mhm. Yeah, well, you said one of my favorite Melissa quote is you said, I can't find the trend unless I create the trend. And I was like talking about trailblazing, but like I similarly have written 77 books or 81, whatever. I have 77 books that have been out to at least other humans. And like I also can't find the trend unless I make the trend.
Yeah, we're too rebellious, you and I, but there are a lot of words to expunge from your vocabulary. And I love talking with you, Russell, because I get to use my full vocabulary. Usually I'm like, don't bring out the GRE words. Nobody wants those. I'm like, Russell wants the big
I
words.
do. I do.
But little words that cause a lot of harm, like most people know, stop shooting all over yourself. My least favorite word is actually followed by
Mhm.
just because they're almost always insults. I'm actually pretty smart. Oh, you actually did a great job. Like that shows that I doubted you. It's insulting. At the same time, it's positive, and a lot of people say it about themselves.
Mhm.
Same with just. Like I'm just trying to do this. You're minimizing your needs.
Right.
And in terms of should, I was plagued by shoulds for a long time of I should be making more money in my author career because I used to make 50,000 a month and right now I'm making 10,000 a month. I've been focused on other things. I had life hit me really hard a bunch of times, so I stopped writing and then I decided to write weird stuff that the market doesn't want yet.
Mhm.
And I decided to stick with it this time rather than pivoting. But something I did for myself, because I was always like, how can I understand the market so well, make so much money for my clients, predict the trends and tell my clients in time to ride them? Yeah, but my books aren't making a lot. So I actually learned how to use AI and I released a secret pen name book that I wrote with AI and I still spent 70 hours on it. It won't take that long as I improve my process, but book is better reviewed than the books I bleed into and it had a bidding war for audio rights. So I'm like, oh, I can write to market. I have decided something else is more important. So in the case of my brand that is not a secret, I'm writing neurodivergent heroes. I'm writing queer heroes. I want the underdog to rise. That's more important than having a bunch of money. But now I know I can do it and I'm choosing
Yeah.
not to, and that's given me a lot of peace of mind.
Yeah. I had a similar thing with AI where I was just like, well, I'm just gonna write the things that like I don't really want to write, but I know are popular in the market. And after seeing that I could do it, I was like, okay, I never have to do that again. Um, what I think as we work towards wrapping up here is we see the one side of like the we used to call them deserts in author ecosystem. Well, I guess we still do because it still exists, but like the people that are really good at hitting market and like writing to market. But like what we don't see is 5 years down when if you look back so this is very similar to how pulps were made, right? Like there's like I have a friend whose father wrote like 200 plus pulp books and like the minute that that book was out, it made a lot of money, and then like it had no staying power, and like people were just on to the next thing, and like there's another part of that where like if you make something that only you can make, and you stick with it long enough, and you make enough of those things, the people that find it and love it, they keep growing, and you don't lose them because they can't get it anywhere else. They want to get it anywhere. Like, trust me, if they could find, if like people could get George R. R. Martin to like, if they could find it, they would just be like, I don't actually care about the end of Game of Thrones. But like, they can't get it anywhere else, so they get so like agitated because they want that hit that they can't find. Patrick Rothfuss is another one. Brandon Sanders is another one, except he actually finishes stuff. So like if you can make the weird thing and somehow just stick with it long enough and keep showing it to more and more and more people, like you end up having these really sticky fans because what are they going to do? You're the only game in town that writes Melissa Storm books.
Well, I don't write most Storm books anymore, but yes, for my brand Luna Rider, I have aphantasia. I don't see things in my mind. I don't hear things in my mind. It's blank. Like I have lots of thoughts, but no picture or sound. And I love the fantasy genre for gaming and movies, but I cannot read the fantasy genre because I don't care about what the forest looks like for 6 pages. Like, I lose so much interest. So I decided to write anti-fantasy fantasy with limited description that's really character driven. And that's exactly going against the core tenets of the genre. It's kind of like writing a romance where they both die at it's, writing Romeo and Juliet for the modern age and calling it a
Right.
rom-com. That's what I've decided to do, but I don't know. I'm all in. There's got to be other people like me who just want to get to the point, and that's what I'm doing.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, one of my best affectations that's helped me in my career is you are not a special snowflake. Like you, if you like something, the odds are that in a world of 8 billion people, like at least 1 million of them like the thing you do. Like, yeah, you got to find them. Like, but like, or at least like 10,000. Like, I don't know. There's like some number. I don't know what the number is, but I know it's more than one because like I am not a special snowflake, like in my interests and most people will not love me, but every time I get a 5-star review, I have I've minted a 1-star review somewhere, and every time I get a 1-star review, I've minted a 5-star review somewhere, and I don't know where those people are necessarily, but like it balances out.
and it comes back to just playing the level you're on. So when I switch from cozy mystery, where my audience is 80 plus year old ladies, to fantasy, where my audience is men who are younger than me. Even though it's pink, glitter, lesbian protagonist, it's still men. Still have a lot of male readers. So younger, gender switch, genre switch. So I had to stop trying to do it the Melissa Storm or Molly Fitz way and figure out what Luna Ryder needed. And it's totally different what works. Kickstarter loves my weird brand. So that's where I'm going to keep launching. Amazon's harder, but I chip away at it. Otherwise, it's going to be a Kickstarter brand. They
Right,
like, I'm not a snowflake. I'm a water droplet because I'm an
right.
aquatic.
I love it. I love it.
But yeah, I make games, I do audio, I do all kinds of new and different stuff to get people's attention and to keep myself interested and engaged.
Awesome. Amazing. I love it. Any final last words before we let you go?
I think that there's a lot of voices and there's a lot of opinions all the time, all the time. You can never escape that in anything, but especially in writing because we need opinions for people to buy our work and promote our work. But the only voice that really matters is your own. So work on that relationship with yourself. Be confident and love yourself. Take care of yourself, and you can withstand anybody else who comes at you.
I love it. Thank you so much for joining us, Melissa.